highlight the unexpected.
Oh yeah.
And so instead of it being, just this like if you trip for real, instead of covering it up, highlight it, make it a big
do an extra
deal.
roll.
Yeah, exactly. Make it a big deal, because kids love that, and they do notice, and so they love that stuff.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, there was certain things, like even people that I looked up to. I remember there was this one guy that I really looked up to, and I thought he was a spy. And I really thought he was just so cool. And there would be little things that he would do that I would try to emulate. I mean, it could be as simple. I don't remember anything really specific, but it could be as simple as the way he might run his hand through his hair or something. And I'd be like, try to do it. It'll be all cool. And so, in fact, he was the one. I'm right-handed, and I would always wear my watch on my right hand, like most kids will do when they start out. And he was the one that he wore his watch on his left wrist, so I wore my watch. I changed it over and wore my watch on my left wrist.
Okay, embarrassing time. I got to cut in here.
Okay, here we go. Yes.
So, same exact situation that he's talking about, I had with this guy. So, I remember him blowing my mind many times. Like, I can't remember where we went. I think you took me to lunch, and like we went to your house for some reason to iron a shirt or something before church. So it was like in between services, and I was young. I was like, I don't know if it was planned. I don't know. I don't even know the situation, but I went with you, and it was like I just majorly looked up to you. And this was before you even had any kind of position. Okay. And I remember you had one of your boat cars. I don't know if you had more than one.
What was it?
Your car. That was like a huge car.
Yes, Pontiac Grand Prix.
Yeah, and it was just so cool. And you had some kind of bag, and I still to this day use a bag. But you had a bag, and it must have been in the winter because you had driving gloves.
Oh, that's funny.
And you had like overcoat, and I remember going home and could not wait to go to the store, and we bought leather gloves, and I lived here in the church property. And so it was like 100-yard walk, and I had a square grandpa briefcase that my dad bought me.
Oh, wow.
And I remember having an overcoat, driving gloves, briefcase, walking to church, 100 yards.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So things do matter. I had to bring that up. Sorry.
That is funny. I had no idea. Wow.
First time I ever heard gospel music was in his car, and it blew my mind.
And to think, and now you're like a musician and all kinds of stuff,
See?
lead songs.
It matters.
Wow. Yeah. So, and there's a whole nother podcast is we never know the impression we're making.
Oh man.
I tell my older kids that all the time. My son's 17 and my daughter's 20. And
wow.
I'm like, you never know. And I would tell them that from the time that they were quite a bit younger,
sure.
Like young teens, because they both, have had influence.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't know, somebody's watching, you know.
Yeah. I remember just a few short years ago, my daughter, she's 13 now. And so like Shaylee and Anisha, it's so funny to think they were both in my wedding, and they were like little girls, just mind blowing. But I remember walking by her bedroom when she had a friend over, and they were playing choir, and one's like, okay, this time I'm Anisha and you're Shaylee. And they were like doing like the same movements that they would do. And I told them both right after that, I was like, you guys don't even know.
You don't know. That's crazy. Yeah. Well, and I'm sure she would be devastated that you said that and be really embarrassed, your daughter.
Oh yeah.
But she even still like gets all kinds of clothes from Anisha.
Oh yeah, and she loves it. She's like, I got another bag from Anisha. I know it's all going to be good. Yep.
That's cool. That's really cool. So yeah, all these things, we're talking about highlight the unexpected, but there's impressions, and I guess if you can remember that, and like I said, this stemmed from my young son, like asking questions sometimes unexpected, questions about little details. And so to me, it makes me think of two levels. It makes me think of like, we need to be on point with every little thing that we do, because what a powerful impact we can have if we're on point on everything. And then it also makes me think if we can remember, like in a practice or something, if we can remember that the important things, the funny things, whatever it is, that kids will pick up on it and they will love it and sometimes try to emulate it.
Absolutely.
You know? And we did a spy theme a while. I mean, it's been quite a while ago, and we still have, my son being one of them, these kids running around with walkie-talkies after church.
Yeah, he was doing it today.
So the other night, it was so funny. This is another sidebar. I know we got to wrap up, but the other night, I was looking for Anisha, and I look up, and up by the front pews, I see Anisha and Shaylee, and they got this walkie-talkie, and then I look down, and there's, I think it was Ashton, my son, and they're talking to some kid outside, you know, on the they're in the sanctuary. They're on these walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that can you can have a powerful impact negatively too. So you
Sure.
got to be careful, you know, what you do.